And so, civil war divides the armies of mighty Kyros. The reckoning that comes of this failure will be great indeed. We find ourselves in the darkest times. Brothers and sisters who fought for a similar cause now skewer each other over blighted lands in the favor of distant powers. Backing the disfavored was the only logical choice. Graven Ash is the only Archon worthy of your confidence, and you were wise to recognize as much. Naturally, I would have done the same. Whatever others might say about what happened in Vendrian's Well, you acted from instinct. I can't help but respect that. What can I do for you? The thought has crossed my mind from time to time. During the many battles of the Conquest, we found ourselves standing back to back with enemies on all sides on more than one occasion.
The big guy here is as useless as an empty scabbard without his phalanx to keep him alive, but I move fast enough to compensate for it. And it's nice having a living wall of rusted iron I can use for cover.
I would suggest that our fighting styles complement each other, but they do not. I would suggest that we get along, but we do not. We don't even finish each other's
sentences? Okay, that was strange. Did you hear that? The next time I catch a whiff of Barrick's meaning, I'm keeping my mouth shut.
Absolutely not. Our fighting styles are incompatible, and any disfavored lieutenant will tell you not to join at the hip soldiers who can't stomach each other.
I'm inclined to agree. If you want to pair up fighters, there has to be some great passion or magnetism between them. We don't have it.
Now see here, Verse's temperament and unpredictable ways are an annoyance, but no challenge is beyond my skill. Verse, we should take some time to face off in the sparring fields. It might even improve our disposition towards one another.
I'd rather watch you devour your armor one shaved-off spoonful at a time. But since that isn't going to happen anytime soon, I suppose I'll make an effort. So, the Scarlet Chorus and Disfavored are at each other's throats. Can't say I didn't see that coming, but the Archons might have waited until one war was over before they started another. Fighting with the Disfavored. Oh, not the call I would have made, but I'm sure you have your reasons. If you like iron weapons or something about that purple uniform excites you, then be my guest. Who can say? War is all about compromising your morals, deciding who lives and dies. What seems like a mistake turns into your greatest call down the road. Let me make one thing clear, just so that there aren't any misunderstandings. You support Graven Ash, and I couldn't care less. I'm here because you've done what none of the Archons could. Not even the voices of Nerat would fault me that. He's also a complete bastard, and I wouldn't want to miss an opportunity to stab him in the gut and take control of his army. So, there's that. I'll say this much. Our time together is anything but dull. My blades are yours for as long as you'll have me. What do you need? You've just got to know, don't you? I suppose there's no point in hiding it. Barrick and I are siblings. We share a father, if little else. I try not to think too much about some northern merchant dropping anchor in my mother's port, but it happened, and the fortunate result stands proudly before you. There were a lot of lazy days during the conquest, and among other things, I spent my off hours using messenger birds as target practice. You should have seen Ash's anger when he heard that was going on. One day, I snagged a bird that flew from the hands of a proud northern daddy. The missive was about the goings-on at the family farm. I recognized the name and handwriting from a note in my mother's belongings. There weren't too many people named Barrick in the army, so tracking him down was no challenge. I cornered him in camp, and we shared a few heated words. Some blackmail, even.
She tried to extort rings from me, and I was having none of it. Not even Graven Ash would think less of me for our father's indiscretion.
I like your confidence, but my ring belt is feeling a little light these days. Maybe you want to take me up on that offer, or I can start whispering in disfavored ears. Think about it. I've tried to get along with that ironclad knot of repression, but it would seem he's having none of it. Good riddance, then. The war's tossed us together, but nothing says we have to keep that going. The most we do for each other is try not to get the other one killed, which is more than you can say for most disfavored and Scarlet Cores.
Well, Verse has a nasty habit of jabbering in my ear and making this war intolerable. I plan on parting ways and returning to the north at first convenience. My father will answer for his infidelity. Beyond that, I am happy to consider myself in every way unaffected. My superiors once accused me of having an impulsive streak, but I have worked to suppress it at every turn.
When you go back home, send Father my fondest greetings and thanks. If he hadn't gone to ground on my mother's dry dock, I might not be here today.
My heritage was a point of pride and distinction before I met you, Verse. Not that you would care.
I've asked myself about that several times, but unfortunately I don't have what you'd call a definitive answer. The Northerners put a lot of meaning behind family and blood. Seems arbitrary to me, but I don't want to discredit it entirely. I told you about what happened to my Scarlet Fury sisters. The hesitation I experienced. Sometimes I wonder if that wasn't because of my connection to Barrick. He's stubborn, regimented, everything I'm not. I suppose there's no telling for sure, but if I had to guess... Yeah. Sometimes I get messed up in my head, and learning I had a brother has helped me understand that better. What do you need?
The thought has...
The big guy here is as useless as an empty scabbard without his If you want to attach some arcane meaning to the whole thing, be my guest. I couldn't tell...
In the disfavored ranks...
Huh. Sorry, I can't.
What do you need?